lesson planning using technology. And we're going to really be focusing on some time saving tips, tricks, strategies for you. That's what this lesson is about. So stay tuned for very practical ways to save time. This beautiful picture is close to where I live. I live outside of Chicago. Hi, everybody. I'm Meg Ormiston, and I am a former classroom teacher, school board member, and now I am a consultant helping schools of all different sizes and shapes. And what's interesting when it comes to lesson planning, every single school district I'm in, there is a little bit of a difference in how lesson planning is done. So I'm going to be kind of sharing a kind of a global perspective with you. So please feel free to contact me on Twitter, email, whatever works. Lesson plan templates. We can find them. Believe me, I did a quick search. I can't believe how many were out there. It was unbelievable. But I repeatedly found lesson plans that people would love to sell us, um, things like that. I really just really wanted a template to go ahead and fill out. So I was excited. I found a template, but look at the very bottom. This is really important to look for if you're out looking for resources. This is a PDF, which is fine. Thank you, teacher, for sharing this, whoever did that. But when you see PDF, that means that you can't usually click into a box and edit it. What means is, sure, we can use it as a model. Here it is. It's beautiful. I like the way it's set up. We can use it as a model, but we're going to have to rebuild it in some type of technology. So before we do that, trust me, we can find models, but don't spend a minute until you meet with your administrator, your team, whoever is in charge of this, and understand what their expectations are for your specific lesson planning. And that's going to vary. Let's say that you're a special ed teacher that is adapting a lot of lessons versus a school media specialist. Their expectations are going to be very different. So before you go out and do what I did and search around and find things, find out what your expectations are first, and then we'll build from there. Your administrator might expect lesson plans turned in every single week. Does it have to be hard copied? Does it have to be stuffed in a mailbox? Or could we use like sharing and Google Docs or something like that? Find out up front. We don't want to waste a minute of your precious, precious time. Now, feel free to pause at any time and seek answers, ask questions, whatever. And you can always start up again. Now, what's interesting, there's a lot of websites out there for lesson planning. There were a lot more than last time I did this search. I was a little surprised by that. But be cautious because some of them there is a cost and some of them you have to install things. And let me just pause and why do you care about that? This one says nothing to install. Awesome. You can go ahead and get started. To me, I'm guessing that is an online, you would access it online, with password and user code. That's what I'm guessing. If you do have to install something, you got to be careful because some of you might have Chromebooks. If you have Chromebooks or an iPad, that you're going to do your primary planning on, you won't be able to install anything unless they have an app on the iPad. But on the Chromebook, you can't install programs. So that's what you want to kind of look for as you wander around these different sites. This one's been around for a couple of years, and I've heard some really good things about it. What I always love when teachers tell me about, they get all excited. They love the color coding. I come from the classroom. I completely understand. I had little graphics on mine back in the day and so on and so forth. But watch out as you're searching around, see in the bottom left corner, a 14-day premium trial. Great. Free basic service for life, 10-second sign up. Here's the problem. As you know, with many of these websites, you're like, this is awesome. This is perfect. I love it. I have my lesson plan book on my iPad. This is what I want. Be careful because a lot of times you'll get in and you really will want those premium features. So make sure that if you choose one of these website adventures, just make sure you know like the total cost of ownership. So for example, here it is, I believe it is this one, Planbook EDU, $25. Are you willing to spend $25, probably of your own money, to have your lesson plan organized on your iPad, so on and so forth? You have to think about it. Just know your total cost of ownership going in. Another one I found, it's not as glitzy in my book, was planbook.com. And this one I'd never heard of before, so I can't give you um, feedback for that, other than this one is half the cost at $12 per year. My only fear, and I feel I have to be completely honest with you, my only fear with anything online, a website like this, a website like this, and I think there's probably 20 more. My only concern is what if they went away? What if they didn't get enough funding? What if um, they shut down? And what happens to all your lesson plans? Yikes! That's a lot of work. And you don't want maybe next summer for them to say, oh, sorry, we're shutting down. And that does happen with websites. So you do have to be cautious and aware of that going in. So instead of that, going to one of those websites, I'd like to turn to Google Drive. I believe Google is going to be around next summer. So let's use Drive for planning. Now, many of the schools that I'm working with are Google Apps for Education schools. If you are not already a Google school, I'm going to guess in the next couple of years you're going to become a Google school. But that doesn't mean that you can't create your own Gmail account and start using Drive. But what I want to do in this segment is kind of give you some tips and tricks. There are other modules that we've done in this pack that go deeper into the how to use Google Drive. I'm going to assume that you have a little bit experience at least within Google Drive. Now, I open up Google Drive and I just took a screenshot. And what you see where it says more on the left side? You open that up and all of those things are other things I've added to my drive, my add-ons, if you want to call them that. If you look at that list, one of them is called From Template. From Template. And what that is that's Google's collection of templates that other people have made. And I'm always the one to not start from scratch. Just don't start from scratch if you don't have to. And so the template gallery is great. If you have a very specific set of directions, you might even have a template from your administrator, no problem. Use that. Let's say that it's not just on paper. Let's hope that you have the digital copy. Within Google Drive, a lot of people don't know this, but look on the upper left-hand corner. See where it says File Upload? If you have that template from your administrator and it's in Microsoft Word format, no problem. You can upload it right to your Drive, and then you can treat it just like the template within Drive. But the reason you want to do that is because then you can have it anytime, anywhere, no attachments on any device. So if you need any more specific questions about that, make sure you email me because I can go on and on about that one. The importance of using Google Drive. The other reason to use Google Drive is to share your lessons. So for example, I found this awesome one from Wadham School, and I thought, oh, this is great. Like maybe just a typo or two, but we can fix that. But this is a template, and what happens is once you find one of the templates, then you can go ahead and preview it and then use the template. So what these people have done is they've just given their stuff. They put it up there in Google, and now you can come in and use the template. Then you can make any changes. That's the cool part is once you get this and you go, okay, I don't need this much information. I can make any changes. It becomes yours. But the key, look in the upper left-hand corner. See where it says copy of lesson plan template. When you bring it into your Google Drive, make sure that you make a copy. That's number one step, first thing to do, make a copy. We won't get into the why or the how or it can get very complicated, but here's what I want you to do. Make a copy of it. Make it be detailed. A copy of lesson plan template, you might want to date it, whatever the case is, but make a copy the minute you download a template. All right, I did some Googling. I found some different things, and this teacher, Mr. McDowell, uses his Google Site for his lesson planning. And Google Sites is free websites from Google. And it's all tied to your Google Apps for Education. You can make a site right now. So that's what he does. But look on the left how he's organized. At the high school level, these are his lessons that he's teaching, and all your information is right there. So a big thank you to Mr. McDowell. I look at this and I think, gosh, if I was a first, second, third year teacher, I'd love to have models like this of how I can organize things. So as you dig into, on the left, I dug into one of his units, and this is what his lesson plans look like. What's cool about this is, see on Thursday the 21st, he has a hyperlink to something. It could be a video, it could be another document, it could be, I hate to use the term worksheet, but it could be. And so he's hyperlinked to different things. You can hyperlink in your lesson plans. So let's say, for example, you already have a PDF. You can go ahead, upload that to your Google Drive, and then just hyperlink over to that. You have to make sure you share it, that it is a document that can be shared. But that's exactly how Mr. McDowell is organizing his lesson plans. It looks like it's just a very simple Google Doc, is what I'm guessing he has done here. All right, now, sharing lesson plans. You want, please stop going to the copy machine and copy your lesson plans. I couldn't imagine being the administrator on Friday afternoon if my mailbox was stuffed with lesson plans. Instead, let's share our lesson plans right within Google. So all you have to do is one time share with your administrator your lesson plans. And by sharing it's in the upper right-hand corner, share with your administrator, then at any moment in time, if your administrator wants to take a peek at your lesson plans, they have access to it. So you don't have to worry about stuffing mailboxes, because the administrator can just go ahead and take a look at those lesson plans anytime, anywhere, any place. View your lesson plans from any device. That's one of the cool things about using Google Drive versus even Microsoft Word. Here we can go ahead and access from anywhere at any time. Of course, it looks a little better on some devices than others. That would be my screenshot. But most Google Docs look pretty good within as it goes from device to device. It's really nice to know that you don't have to lug your whole computer home if you just want to do some tweaks in your lesson plans. Maybe you can put your feet up and do that while you do that on your iPad. All right, now we can find the lesson plans. There's no problem there, but make sure it's exactly what your administrator wants. I thought this was interesting, and then I found articles and different templates, but don't spend time looking right now. I want you to make sure that you clearly understand what your administrator expectations are before we go out for the big search. All right, now some of you are using a learning management system. You might not know that that's what they are called, but they're designed to organize and share everything within an online environment. So for example, one of them is Canvas. Canvas is, this one of my school districts I'm working with is using Canvas, and you can go ahead and basically create a classroom, and then you do your lesson planning right within this environment. This is awesome. And what I would do with my administrator is I'd make my administrator a co-teacher in that environment, and that way the administrator can see everything going on, can see the assignments, can see the discussion among the students, and so on and so forth. So Canvas is one of them. There is a free piece of Canvas, and then there is a school-wide Canvas. So there's different pricing structures, as you'd imagine. Otis, this is my latest, most exciting thing. Very rarely do I get excited about things in technology, but this Otis Plus is really an amazing learning management system. And they're working, what I'm most excited about is they're working on an analytics piece that ties in all your data about the students into different, from different places, can all come into Otis, and you can have a real clear snapshot of students that way. Now, the big one that hit last year was Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, you can, if you work within the Google environment, it is a lifesaver, because when you make an assignment, it automatically makes the folder in your Google Drive for that assignment. It is great. That way you have everything in one place. This isn't really a learning management system. It's more of a document management system. But that's okay. It works great. And again, I would invite my administrator in as a co-teacher. And at any moment in time, they can take a look at what's going on in my virtual classroom. Now, this was interesting from Microsoft. I never found this before. And so it was a Common Core, it's a plugin to Microsoft. And you can go ahead and what it does is, I believe what it does is it brings in all the Common Core standards, and then you can just click and drag. And that way you don't have to keep retyping those. I thought that was interesting. I didn't see that. Microsoft, as I wandered around in there, the Microsoft Educator Network really had a lot of resources for teachers. And I was just really surprised I didn't know about it before. So that was interesting. So if you still have Word and you're working in the Microsoft world, you might want to investigate the Common Core implementation kit. Well, thanks. That's just a little snapshot. Of course, if you have any questions, please, 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 you are so welcome to follow up with me. Remember, it's all about saving time and not reinventing the wheel if we can avoid it. Thanks so much.